So the next question comes from user Professor Giggs.
Professor Giggs.
Professor Giggs says, "Hi, Charlie and Ben. Your video seriously helped me during my college years. Since I'm currently reading Benjamin Franklin's biography, have you two ever considered doing charisma breakdowns on historical figures?"
You had to read that for school, right?
Yeah.
You went to Ben.
Yeah, I sure did.
Those guys are Charlie and Ben from the Charlie and Ben podcast. But they're better known for their main YouTube channel, Charisma on Command. They talk about different habits, mentalities, and techniques that anyone could use to make themselves more likable. But more than half of their videos are case studies on different people, celebrities, even fictional characters. They observe them and what they do that makes them likable, approachable, funny, interesting. Things that anyone can use to improve themselves in the eyes of others. Being a big fan, I asked them a question. I'm reading up on Ben Franklin. Are you open to the idea of doing charisma breakdowns on historical figures? In summary, they said no, because whenever they do case studies like that, they depend on there being a large amount of video from which to draw research from. As we all know, there is unfortunately no video of our good pal, Ben Franklin. Even though, yes, Ben Franklin was probably the most charismatic, most approachable, and most fun of the founding fathers, we really only know about him from biographies, books on history. We just know his actions, some of his mentalities, some of his habits. Well, whatever. Let's just go off with what we have right now. I wouldn't consider myself an expert on Ben Franklin. I am just a big fan. A video like this does not exist on YouTube, so I might as well be the first. What are some of charisma tips that we can draw from Ben himself that you can use in your daily life? Depending on who you are, Ben might not be your go-to person. Maybe it could be someone like Marie Curie or Winston Churchill, depending on what type of person you want to become. If you want to be like Ben, it's because you want to achieve the most out of yourself and use those talents to improve the community, to empower the community and those around you. I have drafted seven techniques, mentalities that are from Ben's biographies that I have read. Starting with number 1, never let go of your inner child. I don't think anyone's ever mentioned this specifically in regards to Ben, but it's true. He never let go of his inner child. He was always very energetic. He was very curious. He was very stubborn. It was his curiosity that led him to be a scientist, a very educated person on his own accord, without a formal education, mind you. It was his own stubbornness and willingness to succeed that made him go over to France and help us win the war against the Brits. It was his fun, upbeat attitude that made him charismatic in his writings and his pithy sayings. There's a difference between being childish and childlike. You want to be childlike. If you're childish, you're immature, and Ben would not have been influential if he were an immature child as a man. Never lose touch with your inner child in your daily life. Number 2, use plain talk. What is the necessity of certain individuals that stretch within the abyss of their cerebral lobes and retrieve gargantuan words in order to try to when you just use big words to try to flex how smart you are, you're alienating a whole bunch of people. Instead, why don't you use smaller words that cause a deeper impact? If you pick up Poor Richard's Almanac, if you pick up Ben's autobiography, they're very easily understood. Ben wrote those books and his almanacs and his newspaper with the idea for them to have a broad audience, with the idea for them to be read by all. It's the reason why Poor Richard's Almanac outsold the Bible in the 13 colonies. Use plain speak in order to get as many people as you can behind you. Number 3, become heavily involved in your community. Ben was, if he wasn't involved in a group, he started his groups. There's plenty of organizations around your town, very similar to the ones that he partook in. The Leather Apron Club, also called the Junto, that he founded. It was a public speaking club, and it was a service club. Public speaking reminds me a lot of Toastmasters International, which there might be a club in your hometown. The service club aspect of the Junto reminds me a lot of certain clubs like Rotary International, Kiwanis, the Lions. The organizations that exist in your community are exactly like the extracurriculars from college. They only serve to increase your social capital. They connect you with people that are the local movers, shakers, rising stars, or people that otherwise just serve to elevate your social circles. Not only will you increase your social capital by being involved with these organizations around your community, you will also expand your network. Ben networked the hell out of Philadelphia, and you too can start becoming known in your community, also just by joining organizations that are up your alley. It is the easiest way to make friends as an adult. I hate it when people complain that, I'm 30 years old, I can't make friends anymore. Hell yeah, you can. Join a service club, join a church, join any volunteering opportunity that comes around you. There's lots of opportunities for you to make a difference in your community. One way is by joining an organization like that. Number 4, seek mastery. Life is too short to just be mediocre. Ben was a master at any field of study that he set himself to learn. It's the reason why he became an expert author, writer, diplomat, politician, scientist, inventor, founding father. The list goes on. Philosopher, role model. Find out what it is that you're good at, and don't just half-ass it. Always find new ways on improving yourself in that particular aspect of your life. Eventually, people will look for you to ask questions. Hey, what should I do about da 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 da? Hey, do you know who I could talk to about da 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 da? It's things like that that make you more important in the eyes of others. And being mediocre will never cut it. You must seek to become a master in whatever it is that you're good at. Number 5, use celebrity to your advantage. Now, I'm not talking about getting the blue check mark on the Twitter. I'm talking about small-scale celebrity. If you're serious about being a mover and shaker like Ben was, you will be well known in the community to a degree. If you know how to use celebrity correctly, it will allow you to reach out to people who have never even met you, just heard of you. They'll come to you with a positive bias, and maybe you could persuade them to help out your community, your cause, whatever it is that you need some assistance with. It is the reason why Ben was the only person capable of going to France right in the middle of the dire straits of the Revolutionary War and request for military assistance. It could not have come from anyone else. Ben was the only founding father who was literally an international sensation. I am not kidding. His electric kite experiment and all his other endeavors made him a star when he was the ambassador for the States over, or the colonies rather, over in France. He was well received, and the French gave us their much needed assistance to kick the British asses out of the colonies. It's safe to say that we probably would not have become an independent nation if it were not for Ben Franklin. Number 6, use favors to get your enemies to like you. Well, maybe enemy is too strong of a word, but not everyone will be your fan. Not everyone will be your follower. Not everyone will be your admirer, and that's all right. It's how you play the game. There's a story in Ben's autobiography that talks about this guy. I forget who he was or what he did, but he did not like Ben Franklin at all. However, Ben wanted him on his side. He got word that this fellow owned a very rare book that Ben really, really wanted to read. He knew of nowhere else to get it. So he asked him, "Hey, I know you don't like me, but can I borrow your book?" "Yeah, sure, here, I finished reading it." Ben read it for himself, he gave it back, and slowly but surely, a friendship, or at least peaceful relations happened between them two. I have to read the autobiography again to refresh the specific details. This is actually known by psychologists as the Ben Franklin effect. The idea here is that if you tell someone who doesn't like you to do you a small favor, maybe, "Hey, can I borrow a pen? Can you tell me the time?" Something simple that requires no effort at all. Something that will make them look like an asshole if they disagree. It tricks their brain into thinking, okay, I'm lending this person my pen because I must like them, I suppose. Ben figured this out, and psychologists have backed this up. Use favors to get the approval of people you don't, or people that don't like you. And finally, number 7, have or create a saying for any occasion. Ben was the master of figures of speech and maxims for practically every situation in life. The problem is, or not the problem, but the thing is, they weren't always original. Very few of his phrases were actually original. What Ben did, however, he rewrote them so they could sound catchier and more memorable. Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise is not the original phrase. The original must have sounded clunkier and a little more garbled up, but it's in the rhetoric, it's in the meter, it's in the rhymes that make it more memorable and make it sound wise. Oh, that's a rhyme right there, and it was a total accident. What you can do in your life, you could learn a bunch of idioms, figures of speech, or you could even create your own to fit whatever situation might come across on you. However, don't overuse them. Maybe use them once or twice in any given get-together. If you just use them every 10 minutes or so, people are going to think you're annoying. Well, there you go, everyone. 7 different ways for you to become the best person you can be, and eventually empower your community. Oh, that rhymed again! The root of it all, everyone, was that Ben was not afraid to be authentic. Nowadays, it seems that people are scared for some reason to be their true selves, or they're posting on social media, oh, look what I'm doing. It's not necessarily what they're good at. They just do it because it's going to get a whole bunch of likes. Live the way you want to. Know what it is you're good at, and become the best at it. Life is too short to become mediocre. Always approach anything that comes with you with Ben's fire in the soul, with Ben's energy, with Ben's passion, with Ben's mastery. That is how you'll become your true best self, and how you will eventually empower those around you, whether it's your circle of friends or even your own community. Have a good one, take care, and kick ass.